Today, we are going to talk about how you will reclaim your time with Amazon's simplified approach to inventory defect management. First, we're going to start with how Amazon is improving supply chain efficiencies that reduce defects.
And I will talk about two key launches that are coming up in 2024 that will redefine your experience in the defects and reimbursement space.
Awesome. Thanks, Nidhi.
Thanks.
I get really excited to talk about improvements to supply chain efficiencies that reduce defects. But you may be wondering, what's the big deal? Well, let me explain. An efficient supply chain ensures inventory is not damaged at any stage of the supply chain process, whether it be transportation, distribution, or fulfillment. It ensures that inventory is available for sale quickly, and we have the fastest delivery speeds for customers. And an efficient supply chain identifies defects as early as possible and addresses them before they become downstream defects that are customer-facing. But it's more than just minimizing defects. An efficient supply chain translates directly into cost savings by reducing rework, removals, returns, and waste. And even more important, it improves your experience, your customer's experience, and it protects your brand. Minimizing defects requires collaboration between us, carriers, and you. Together, we can achieve unprecedented supply chain efficiencies. So, when people ask me what gets me fired up, it's hands down a data-driven, streamlined supply chain that delivers quality products at the fastest speed and lowest cost possible to customers. Now, before we go into inefficiencies in our supply chain, let's take a journey together where your product starts at your facility all the way to when it arrives at the customer's doorstep. First, it starts at your facility, where inventory is packaged, prepped, and labeled for Amazon's supply chain. It may be put in cartons. These cartons may be palletized when they're handed off to carriers. The carrier transports this inventory to an Amazon facility, either a distribution node or a fulfillment router, where it goes through a rigorous receive process. This process unloads inventory from the trailer. We scan each pallet, each carton, where all the contents in the pallet or carton are virtually received. Now from there, that's where it gets really exciting. Inventory is either directly shipped out to a fulfillment warehouse in a carton or pallet form, or it goes through this innovative robotic sortation technology. Now, the purpose of this technology is to ensure that your inventory is placed as close as the customer as possible. It's really cool to watch this process. As an associate unloads each unit onto a conveyor, a robotic shuttle moves the inventory to a unique container destined for a unique fulfillment warehouse. What this does is this makes your inventory available for Prime because it's placed as closest to the customer as possible, enabling that 1 or 2 day promise, and even more frequently, that same day promise. Now, when the inventory arrives at that fulfillment warehouse, it moves to our bin storage system, where an associate puts each item into a bin, and an image system is verifying that item is going into the bin that we told the associate to put it in. Now, as Amazon invests in technology to accelerate the speed of inventory processing, we must also remain diligent in removing defects that slow that process down. So we're going to go into some of the 4 common defects that we see in our supply chain that slow inventory down. The first one is damaged items. Damaged items require rework. They require us to remove it, or our customer returns. Damages happen from improper dunnage in boxes, either coming into Amazon or Amazon sending out to a customer. They also happen due to product packaging. And so to improve damages, We need to improve our processes to ensure that proper dunnage is put in boxes and the packaging is e-commerce ready. Labeling issues are another common defect. A labeling issue occurs when an item arrives and our scanners are not able to scan the item due to no label being present or the label being unreadable for our scanners. Now, item labeling defects have like a ripple effect. When we can't scan an item, we have to identify what is this item and relabel it. And that we could do that accurately, we might not do that accurately, and that can have repercussions all the way to a customer or on your shipments of having discrepancies. Improper packaging or prep is another defect, where cartons arriving at our warehouse maybe don't have a label, or they may be oversized or overweight. When this happens, we can't put these cartons on our conveyance system to automatically receive the inventory and process it to the next process path. It has to be diverted to a slower, more manual process path where we manually receive the inventory. And finally, inventory discrepancies occur when the expected inventory in the carton doesn't match what we physically brought out of the carton. This can occur due to item labeling defects that I mentioned earlier, or due to different items being packed, lesser items being packed. Our goal is to collaborate with you, to provide you with automated signals and images so that we can reduce defects together, just like we do with our internal teams at Amazon. Together, we can deliver an exceptional customer experience. So now that we went through what are the common defects, let's talk a little bit about when and where these defects are identified and resolved within our supply chain. So it all starts at your facility, where quality processes, package, label, inventory for Amazon. This sets a strong foundation for efficient processing at our warehouses. Next, the first critical checkpoint at Amazon is at receive, when we're taking that inventory off of a trailer. We have image systems that scan each carton and each pallet coming off of a trailer. And this is the checkpoint that tells us, are there any discrepancies in pallet or carton count, or are there damages to the carton? Next, it goes to item sortation, where we're able to identify carton content defects. So this is when we first bring an item out of a carton to understand what does the item look like, what is that item exactly, and is it prepped and packaged accordingly, and is there any damage? This is when we can verify carton count information, and we can also verify that this item is ready to continue processing to customers. Similarly, during bin storage at our fulfillment site, it goes through the same process, where an associate is putting an item into a bin, and we have an image system that's verifying what is that item, is it in the right condition, no damages, and can I actually scan it to continue processing? It doesn't just stop there. Unfortunately, some defects make it to customers, and we continuously listen to customer feedback. We look for different items being received by customers or items being damaged. Based on this information, we will go and look at all the items in bins that came from that same shipment and resolve any defects we find to prevent any additional defects to make it to a customer. Now, by understanding these various touch points, we are able to invest in technology that allows us to scale identification and remediation of these defects. This multi-layer approach of technology plus collaboration with you will allow us to achieve unprecedented defect elimination in our supply chain. So our focus at Amazon is implementing cutting-edge technology to improve defect detection and resolution. It all starts with carriers. We are working to improve our coverage and accuracy of signals that carriers provide us, so that we can inform you right away when there's a mishap during transportation, such as a carton being damaged or being lost. Next, our advanced imaging system is also providing us quality signals that are auditable for us to identify defects and resolve them right away before they are processed downstream. And then finally, we are also improving our data models so that we can create a graph of all inventory movements and the metadata around them. In a little bit, I'm going to talk about what we're doing in the future to utilize that graph to improve our root cause coverage and attribution and resolution ability. And finally, machine learning has been a big investment over the past 3 years so that Amazon can identify any received errors that occur, any adjustment errors that occur. What this does is it uses many different data points across systems to identify what happened and what should have happened differently. This technology is allowing us to understand when we misallocated inventory, received it the wrong shipment, and then it automatically resolves those issues by making adjusting transactions to bring it back onto the shipment it should have happened. Now, you'll see this through reduced discrepancies on your inbound and in your warehouse. We are committed to delivering an efficient supply chain in partnership with you. Now, we're continuing to innovate, leveraging new technologies that are coming out to improve our ability to be a more efficient supply chain for you. The most exciting thing for me is our use of generative AI over this past year. That's already showing promising results. So what are we doing? That inventory graph that I talked about earlier has every single touch point of inventory and the metadata around it. And so Gen AI is identifying defect patterns using that inventory graph. And then we're able to scale identification of that pattern across all movements of inventory that allows us to accelerate identification of root causes, ownership attribution of those root causes, and resolution. It's already showing promising results. In the space, we are identifying errors at Amazon where we misallocate inventory and adjusting transactions to remediate those misallocations. The next is imaging technology has proved itself at sortation and as we put inventory into bins for identifying defects. And so we're going to continue to scale this technology at every single touch point of inventory. And then the next thing is, not only are we scaling it, we want to be able to provide you with images when defects happen, whether or not they're caused by Amazon or originated outside of Amazon. And lastly, we realize that identification of short pallet and cartons needs to be much more quicker and communicated more effectively to you. We are launching imaging systems at trailer dock doors so that we understand exactly what came out of a trailer from a carton and pallet count perspective. Now, this information is super important because unless we have this, we're not able to validate the proof of delivery, the bill of lading, or the trailer manifest on their appointment from the accuracy perspective. By having this information, we're going to be able to improve the accuracy of what trailers say is delivered, or what carriers say is delivered to Amazon, and also enable you, when you're not using an Amazon carrier, to have a conversation with your carrier about losses that happen during transportation with that proof. Now, this investment is bringing us into a future where defects should be a rarity. But this will only be achieved through a symbiotic relationship, through technology investments, and with your collaboration to address defects, whether or not they be on seller, on our supply chain, or in our carriers. We hope to achieve a supply chain that's defect-free and the most efficient in the world. Now, at Amazon, we handle an immense amount of volume every single year, tens of billions of items. And while the vast majority of these items are handled defect-free and seamless, unfortunately, there are instances where inventory is lost or damaged due to our fault, carriers, or selling partners. We realize that any loss or damage of inventory is disruptive to your supply chain and your business. And that's why we continuously are making investments into improving our defect detection, resolution, and communication. I'm excited about the future ahead. And so with that, Nidhi Kaur will come back on stage and talk to you about 2 exciting new launches that are coming up to improve when Amazon, your experience when Amazon loses or damages your inventory.
Thank you, Nate. Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here to talk about two initiatives that we are launching this year. As Nate mentioned, we strive to maintain a defect-free supply chain. However, we know that defects do happen. And when they do, our goal is to make sure that we get you the reimbursements as quickly as possible. Let's start with proactive reimbursement. Let's look at the seller anecdote that you see here. I don't want to create a claim with Amazon when you lose or damage my item. If you can show us all damages and the item lost, I expect Amazon to resolve those issues by itself. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you can resonate with this sentiment. The process to create a manual claim can be complex and cumbersome. In fact, it can take anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes to raise a claim for a single item lost. This is where our approach for proactive reimbursement comes in. We try to reimburse when we have all the data necessary to make a confident and accurate decision for you. As Nate mentioned, we continuously work on improving our models and also use the latest technology to make sure that we identify the defects that qualify for reimbursements and also minimize the clawbacks that could happen as a result of incorrect information at the time of defect identification. In addition, we also use natural language processing models, which helps our support operations associates to take faster decisions for you and help resolve your claims faster. The proactive reimbursement approach is meant to initiate the reimbursement without requiring any information from you. So let's look at where we are with this proactive reimbursement today. Here you see 4 types of defects. Starting with inbound, where you send items from your warehouse to our FCs, moving to warehouse operations, which include warehouse damage, warehouse lost, warehouse disposals, moving to customer outbound and returns, and lastly, removals. Over the years, we have made significant investments in making sure that we increase automation rate and reimburse you by providing automation. With that, we already fully proactively reimburse you within customer returns and warehouse damage, which actually represent majority of the defects that you see. However, we know that there's still a lot of defects remaining where you have to raise a claim with us. And this is where I'm super excited to announce that starting 1st November 2024 in North America, followed by other geographies in Q1 2025, you will no longer have to raise a claim for any item lost in Amazon warehouses. Just let that sink in for a moment. No longer you will have to raise a claim for any reimbursement needed for a defect in our warehouse. To put that into context, today on an average, 25% of the case volume that we see comes from warehouse lost. With this initiative, we will completely eliminate the need for you to reach out to us and raise a claim. We will do the work for you and trigger the reimbursement as soon as our systems identify a defect. Now, why 99%? Similar to the current state with customer returns and warehouse damage, where you may have to reach out to us for certain claims, we expect that there will be some edge use cases. For these, you will have to reach out. But even for those rare instances, we are going to make the process seamless for you, as you will see next. With proactive reimbursement, our aim is to make sure that we reduce the overhead burden for you and your teams, and also make sure that there are no reimbursable opportunities left on the table. We are not only stopping at proactive reimbursement. This year, we are also solving another long-standing pain point: the lack of visibility and a centralized tracking tool for your reimbursements, which can lead to missed reimbursement opportunities and frustration. Let me paint a picture of the current challenge with this anecdote. There are so many different reports that Amazon provides, but it's hard to combine and see them all under one UI. Please create one integrated view that gives transparency into inventory reimbursement. The process of understanding a reimbursable opportunity, raising a claim, and then comprehending the decision that Amazon has made is cumbersome. You may have to refer to multiple reports, including the inventory ledger report, reimbursements report, customer returns report, and then you have to cross-reference this data with the current programs and policies to understand what is eligible for reimbursement. In addition, you then have to go to the case log pages to understand the status of the cases that you have raised with us. And we know that in order to perform all these tasks, you may have to resort to external services or tools. We have heard this feedback loud and clear, and we understand the need for an integrated view which will simplify this experience for you and give you transparency into all your reimbursements in one place. And to address this pain point, we are launching Inventory Defect and Reimbursement Portal in November 2024 for North America, followed by other geographies early next year. This is the first time that you will be able to see all the information regarding your defects and reimbursements in one place. This portal is going to give you 3 key benefits. Starting with the inventory status, where you will be able to view all your inventory discrepancies in one place and the statuses they are in. Second, this portal will aggregate all the information from multiple reports and help pages to give you the visibility that you need. And lastly, this portal will also give you insights into your defect landscape by giving you functionalities such as defect volume and defect trends. In 2024, we will provide you coverage for warehouse lost, warehouse damage, and customer returns. Let's take a quick tour of the IDR portal and look at the key features and functionalities here. The overview page here will give you a drill down into all your inventory discrepancies, also the status, starting with eligible for reimbursement, in progress, and resolved. You will also be able to look at different filters, such as the SKU filter here. For example, if you want to focus on products where you are consistently facing higher rate of damages or higher rate of customer returns, you can get the insights from this page, which will help you work with Amazon or your manufacturers to understand which defects you want to focus on and what are the root causes. It could be labeling, prep, or even listings. Now let's deep dive into the exciting features of the portal. Let's start with the eligible for claims page. Now, as I talked about, there are rare instances where you will have to raise a claim for warehouse lost, customer returns, and warehouse damage. As a seller, I know that it can be a little bit frustrating to navigate through multiple reports and policies just to identify those opportunities. With the launch of this portal, you will no longer have to do any work to identify those. We will surface all the eligible opportunities here for you. Here, you will be able to see the details of all the discrepancies that are eligible and use this information to raise a claim with us, which will not only allow us to resolve your issues faster, but also avoid duplication of cases. The charts and the functionalities here will also allow you good visuals to focus on the top defect types with the biggest impact. Next up, we have the in progress page. Now, this is where you will be able to see all the discrepancies that are currently being investigated by Amazon. This page will also include all the claims that you have raised with us. In addition, any discrepancy that is currently being investigated by Amazon will be visible here. For example, let's say you have a customer returns order for which we are pending the item return. You will see the discrepancy here, and as we receive the item return in our return centers, we will move the defect status to either resolved or to eligible for reimbursement, depending on the action needed from you. With this page, again, you will have all the details required to look at the inventory discrepancies and understand why certain defects are in progress or what action you may have to take. Once resolved, these defects will move to eligible for claims if action needed. Lastly, we have the resolve page here. This page includes all the discrepancies that have either been reconciled, resolved by Amazon, or are ineligible as per our policy. This tool completely will eliminate the need for you to refer to multiple reports to understand the open discrepancies and the details. This will give you a clear view of the SKU, the defect's nature, the reimbursed amount, and the method of reimbursement. If you disagree with our resolution, you can always raise a case with us. And that is where you will have all the detailed information required to raise a claim. I really hope that the launch of Inventory Defects and Reimbursement Portal will give you the simplicity and transparency and will help you build a strong partnership with us. As we conclude the session, I would like to invite Nate back on stage.
So at Amazon, we are continuously investing in new technology, enhancing our processes, and improving our operations to achieve unprecedented supply chain efficiencies that reduce defects. But we can only do this in a collaboration and transparency with carriers, you, and internal teams. We're excited about this future ahead.
And with the launch of proactive reimbursements and IDR, we are making a step change in your experience, and we really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for attending.